Infinite Fusion is a crazy new game that lets you combine Pokemon, making over 100,000 new creatures. They can be anything from wacky to wonderful and just downright cursed. So I decided to play this entire game and answer the question, could we become champions? And more importantly, what hilarious monstrosities could we create? Well, let's find out. First, we have to pick our starter, and naturally, we take Charmander since it's the only Kanto starter that matters in the eyes of Game Freak. However, this little guy has no idea just what chaos his future holds. As is tradition, our first fight is against our rival, the most heinous person of all time, not subbed. You wouldn't want to be like this disgusting vermin, would you? Being the beta that he is, our rival cowardly steals both remaining starters. That's against the rules! Do something, old man! Anyway, our rival takes the two Pokemon and basically smooshes them together, creating a cute Squirtsaur. A few scratches can take it out, but that was a relief. I thought all fusions would be monstrosities, but that guy was just plain adorable. I'm sure the rest of the outside world is going to be fine. Mum, I don't want to be champion anymore. I'm just going to stay inside. Not only can we find regular Pokemon in the grass, but we can also encounter some cursed cross-sections. Case in point, this owl rat monstrosity, Hootata. While I'm inclined to burn it and save the rest of humanity from ever having to lay eyes on it, I want as many cursed fusions as possible, so I added it to the team. But I wanted even more abominations, so I quickly caught a Weedle, a Mankey, and oh god, Caterpie, did you eat a Metapod? I need this disgusting demon on the team. Our team had started to fill out, so to make some space, it was time to fuse our poisonous bug and big primate into the angriest little worm I've ever seen. It's almost cute how harmless it looks. We'd managed to already get 3 demonic-looking team members, but what about our starter? Well, I decided that, in this run, I wanted to fuse it with a new Pokemon for every gym fight. And for this one, I had a great idea. Because in the Viridian Pokemon Center, we can trade a Spearow in order to obtain a Bellsprout. This lets us combine the two, which then forms a really cool new Pokemon, although it does just kinda look like a malnourished Charmander with a YouTuber react face. Regardless, our fiery Pepper pair blitzed through Viridian Forest, setting fire to every single bug trainer along the way. But not before our Catapod got to evolve, and I don't know what I expected. Admittedly, I was curious about what 2 Caterpies would evolve into, and as bug types evolve early on, I knew it wouldn't take long. So I brutally set fire to this bug catcher's Caterpie Pidgey fusion over and over again. EXP from this battle then lets us evolve our Mandel into a Manuna, which somehow looks even less threatening than the puny worm we saw moments ago. Although it soon evolves into Mandrill, and who knew? Replacing Beedrill's giant spikes with hands and feet makes it look even more disturbing. Then, our double Metapod reached level 10, allowing it to evolve into one of the saddest looking butterflies I've ever seen. Look at it! I've never seen a Pokemon so conscious of how cursed it is. Fortunately for them, Metafree is destined to become something greater, as it can very swiftly evolve into this amazing Butterfree. That's the Gigantamax Butterfree from Sword and Shield. What an awesome sprite. I know it isn't cursed, but when you have Hootata and Mandrill, you need to mix it up with some beauty. So, with our quartet of chaos, we charged into Pewter City, ready to challenge the first gym. The 2 gym trainers weren't overly threatening, but I have to show you their Pokemon. Georan looks horrifying, GOP looks in pain, and I love Sandude. I will protect him with my life. Now we can step up to face the rock-type icon, Brock. What if we could seize the power of DNA fusion technology for a greater purpose? Something noble that would really improve the lives of common, everyday people. That sounds beautiful. What do you have in mind? We fuse Officer Jenny with Nurse Joy. Just imagine that. Brock, you're sick. But I like the way you think. Anyway, in Infinite Fusion, your team size has to match the leaders, so we bring our beautiful Butterfly and our sad-looking Pepper. Brock leads with this freaky little GOG, who can't really handle our Vine Whips, as 2 of these take it out. This then brings in Brock's Ace, and oh god, I don't know what I find worse about Dignix. Its cold, dead eyes, or the 6 moles on its body that just look like they're staring at each other, asking, brothers, are we demons? Mercifully, Charsprout can survive a rock tomb before smiting the possessed rock snake with a Vine Whip, giving us the win. Oh, and after the battle, Charsprout evolves into Charsprout. Real original. So original, in fact, that I decided to unfuse my duo after the battle. Our Bellsprout had been through so much with us, but as Brock gave us a premium Wonder Trade ticket, I decided to say goodbye to our power plant in the hopes we'd get something cooler. And what we got was an abomination. A Prinplup crossed with a Vibrava called Jeff. Incredible. Now we can set off towards Mount Moon, but not before encountering a Pikapuff. In another timeline, this is the franchise mascot, so be glad you're here. The game is slightly different to the original, as Team Rocket are much more menacing this time, having blocked off Mount Moon with rocks. Fortunately, Brock is here to give us the Rock Smash TM. I just hope we can also use it to smash his demonic Rocky Bird. Now, Mount Moon is home to some creepy Pokemon for sure, but I reckon as long as we stick close to the trainers, we should be okay. I am not okay. Turns out, nowhere in the cave is safe, so we rush through as quickly as we can. Team Rocket soon crosses our path, and I thought this bug was freaky. Hatata, on the other hand, nightmarish. These guys are scumbags, and with their fusions, they're almost trying to out-curse us. This is clear when we catch up to Team Rocket. Giovanni is there, and he's spearheading the devious plan of trying to fuse 3 Pokemon together. 3 at once? My god, the possibilities are endless. Team Rocket's plan does fail, which I'm sure all 3 of those Pokemon are glad about. But throughout the game, we've got to try and stop Team Rocket's evil ambitions. Thankfully, I have an equally disturbing Pokemon to fight these critters off. What if we took a Charmeleon, threw away its body and legs, and set it on fire? Why? We'd have Chardude, of course. This flaming rock should surely give these bad guys the creeps. I mean, what could they possibly throw at us? Okay, this is just off the record. That's messed up. We show Kofmer the only sliver of mercy it's ever had by ending its miserable existence, causing the evil team to disperse. We then tell the scientist to seek God, to which he shows that he did by presenting us with the Helix fossil, although that's for later. For now, we can venture on through to Cerulean City, where there's a few things we can do. The first of which is facing our rival. He has a flourishing team of freaks, but we can take each one out pretty cleanly thanks to our big Butterfree and whatever creature Jeff is meant to be. This clears the path to Bill's house, which, along the way, we come across some of the saddest looking monsters you'll ever face. Honestly, I think we have an Elite 4 contender already with Paris. There's not been a single fusion involving this guy that hasn't looked like it wants to end its life. And you know what? I kinda like that. Speaking of cursed combos, our Hootata evolved into an even more terrifying Hootakate, then into a slightly less perturbed Nocticate. Some people use Watchhog strictly for HMs, I use it as a Lovecraftian nightmare. Bill is trying to live out his furry fantasies by fusing with a Rhydon, but after seeing an Oddass, nothing surprises me in this life anymore. Now, Misty's gym is up next, and you might be wondering which dance partner our starter will end up fusing with. There are a few good contenders, but there's one in particular that I want to try. In this game, you're able to backtrack through Mount Moon, and for the low price of 500 Pokédollars, we've got ourselves a Magikarp. And you probably know where this is going. We have 2 of the most epic Pokemon at our fingertips, and with a single DNA splicer, we can conjure up the craziest and coolest fusion out there. Maybe just give us another level or 2 first. Boom! Now we've got ourselves a Chardos, a fire and water type that should bring the heat in our next gym fight. We're a bit underleveled, but I was feeling confident with our combination of the fire sea serpent and this bird rat thingy. Misty opens with Jigglydean, which could be trouble, but with a decent attack stat and many flinches, our bites repeatedly stifle the pink fish until we take it out soon after. But what could Misty's ace be? Some terrible mix of some of the craziest, scariest sea creatures from the greatest depths of the ocean? Well, oh, look at their little face. Surely this thing won't be a problem for us. Oh. Oddyu is no joke with its powerful water pulses, so we have to put our faith in Nocticate. Hyperfang does more than half, but we get put into a bad spot as Stun Spore paralyzes us and Water Pulse then confuses us. Why am I so unlucky? This was looking like a loss, until our behemoth clutched up, breaking through by landing one more Hyperfang for the win. It was tough, but that's our second badge, clearing us to continue onwards. And with another trade ticket, we receive this Snubble Mimikyu, an adorably terrifying stuffed doll. Having conquered Cerulean, our next stop is south to Vermilion. Thankfully, with Team Rocket behind us for now, we should be free from any creepy fusions for a while. Until we reach Camper Jeff on Route 6, who then shows me the worst thing I have ever seen in my life. I mean, seriously? Oddacate makes Kofmer look like Oddyu. What is wrong with some of the trainers here? We mercifully put down the terrible troll, letting us enter Vermilion City, and I waste no time getting ready for the gym leader here as we pop into Diglett Cave to get, shocker, a a Diglett. But rather than fusing it with our starter, it looks like we just went, let's bury our Charmeleon in the dirt instead. Nevertheless, curiosity got the better of me. If you took a Diglett and fused it with another Diglett, what weird fusion would you end up with? I don't know what I expected. Since we're a bit underleveled, I decided to try and take our Dig Duo and Digmeleon to Route 11 to train against some electricians. And while we're there, we're subjected to some nightmare fuel. Magnemite combined with anything is a Cyclopean disaster, and I'm fairly certain we're going to be using one of these bad boys for the end of the game. However, one good thing is that Magnemite hates the ground, and a fair few battles later, our Dig Duo evolves into I don't know what I expected. Oh, and on top of that, our Charlotte also evolves into I don't know what I... Clearly, Diglett's fusions like to take things as literally as possible, but something wasn't adding up. There were 6 moles in Dig Trio's fusion, despite only consisting of 4. So, if you take 2 Doug Trios, what would you get? Oh my god, it's Dugdemonium! There's too many moles! They keep multiplying! With Chaos in our pocket, now it's time to board the SS Anne. Our rival would be scary, but we can surround him with a bunch of Diglett, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Oh, also, we caught another Magikarp at one point, which, when fused with its successor, looks hilarious. But evolving it to make it a Gyarados on Gyarados gives us a terrifying fish, which we can use against our despicable rival, not subbed. And it wasn't even close. We watched him up in no time at all. And speaking of not being close, Lieutenant Surge is up next. He might be a war veteran, but that doesn't stop us from unleashing an infestation in his gym. A cacophony of magnitudes and bulldozers completely wipe out Surge's team, and I'm sure Piccolette is glad we took it out. That's our 3rd gym badge down. Surge gives us 2 premium wonder tickets, and we surely won the lottery here. Not only do we get a Wooper bird, but we also get a fish with arms. What's not to love? We can also trade a Growlithe that we received in Cerulean for a Bulbasaur, and this is one half of our main contender for the Grass Gym, as we get a starter-on-starter mix-up to create Charsaur, an adorably angry quadruped to square up against Erica. However, in order to get there, we have to get through the rock tunnel first, and since we don't have Flash, I decided to trust my gut and blindly stumble through the cave, just hoping to avoid the horrible creatures hiding in the darkness. Oh, look at this little guy. Maybe the rock tunnel isn't so bad after all. Never mind, I changed my mind. I gotta get out of here. We rush past any and every Pokemon that may give us nightmares, and before long, we're through to Lavender Town. The only thing of note is that our Charsaur evolves into a Charsaur, and our Snubble Mimikyu baby transforms into an utter abomination. What is it holding? Is it my soul? This felt like just what we needed to haunt the competition, so we headed to Celadon to get our 4th badge. Except the gym is locked with no leader in sight. Don't worry, I know what to do. We go to the Rocket Game Corner, obviously. Don't touch the poster. There's nothing behind it. Yeah, sure, buddy. Let's wreak some havoc. Oh, there really is nothing. Mimic Bull, make this guy pay. As it turns out, we have to go to Lavender Town first, where, after destroying Not Subbed, again, don't be like him, we see Mr. Fuji being taken up the tower by Team Rocket. I'd like to set our newly evolved Goldude on these punks, but we need a Sylph Scope to get anywhere in the tower, so that's for later. Now we can actually make some headway in Celadon City, as in this game, there's a new sewer system. Here, Erica comes to our aid to help us out, but I don't know. I don't think we need anyone to assist us here. Hey, Erica, actually, this one's all you. Pushing through the sewers isn't too much trouble, and ultimately we reach the endpoint where Giovanni is residing. He has 3 Pokemon while we have a full team of 6, so this should be a cakewalk. Right? Well, it turns out that the mob boss is no pushover. His Rhyhorn Lapras fusion is bulky and tanks a lot of damage, taking out our Mimiball and our Golbat Graveler, until an EV we found can finish it off. Then, Giovanni's Arbok Onyx overpowers our Buggy Snake combo, though our formerly happy Handfish has now become a happy Handless Snake, getting our revenge. But last, it's Hauntcarn, a ghostly monster that quickly counters by taking out our Sea Snake and Eevee no problem. So, who can we rely on in this time of crisis? Oh god, the moles! They followed me underground! Doug Trio is a great counter for Giovanni. A Sucker Punch does big damage. We tank a Dizzy Punch to land one more Sucker Punch for the KO, just giving us the win. This enables us to get the Sylph Scope and challenge Erica. That win was all Doug Trio though. As a sign of respect, 1 like equals 1 extra mole for Doug Trio. That battle was way too close and we needed our whole team just to beat 3 Pokemon. This made me really worried about how tough this game was gonna get. But for now, we were well equipped to save the pensioner being held hostage in Lavender Tower. Although, we need to keep our wits about us, as we could easily be haunted by some terrifying monsters here. Case in point, this is what it'd look like if we fused our starter with a Ghastly. How terrifying. Squirtle and Ghastly, however, almost too cute that you'd want to be haunted by it. Oh, and our Charsaw evolves into Charsaw. Again, we have to defeat some extremely cursed Pokemon on the way up, but eventually we reach the ghost guarding the top, a Marowak possessed by a Gengar. We had to use our own ghostly combo to take it out, but this game isn't pulling any punches. Mr. Fuji gives us a Pokeflute at the top of the tower, meaning we can finally take on Erica in Celadon. And I wanted to try a few new combinations to take into the gym. First, our Venonat Arbok combination morphed into a gross bug snake combo. But if you think that's something, just you wait, because we caught a Ghastly and Haunter from Lavender Tower. And when you eventually have two Haunters combined, you summon the devil himself. Look at him, he's horrifying. If you're not subscribed, this Pokemon will be at your window tonight, and I wouldn't want to tempt fate. Hi Keegan, thanks for the help in the sewers. No problem, Erica. And hey, just to show my thanks, let's have a fruitful battle. Haunter, kill. Committing murder isn't the most ethical way to win a gym badge, but I'm not gonna tell Haunter otherwise, so we're halfway through our gym conquest. To celebrate, we add another Pokemon to our Pokedex by catching the slumbering Snorlax blocking the cycling road. Just curious, but don't you think Snorlax looks a bit like a video game villain? Let me know in the comments if you figure it out. We can head to Fuchsia by cycling down this road, and just before we make it into the city, our Charsaw finally evolves into a Charsaw. Dude, pick a different name for once, please. Also, how can you fly with wings like that and a body like that? Anyway, we've made it to our next major stop, and it's here that we can do a few things. The first of which is going into the Safari Zone and getting the Surf TM. But with such a vast array of rare Pokemon, it's important to stop and smell the roses. And okay, no, that's honestly the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, which means you're coming on the team. Everybody say welcome to Pinscute. As it turns out, by rare Pokemon, I meant to say Demented Fusions, as we have a bunch of atrocities that we encounter. Like, seriously, what is wrong with Lickitung? Why does its tongue do that? Why are its eyes so black? This might be one for the Elite Four, people. Just please, keep that tongue away from me. In short order, we're able to get the Surf TM, which we can't use until after getting the Saffron City Gym Badge. But my god, I forgot whatever this dude said because my mind is still stuck on Lickitung. Anyway, with those horrors behind us, now it's time to face Koga. But before that, I wanted to add one new member to the team. And so, we return to Celadon Sewers, where we find a rat covered in sludge. Don't worry, little guy, let's get that off of you. And in doing so, we have room for Muck, who, with our Charizard, creates a toxic tyrant worthy of wreaking havoc on Koga. On top of that, I decided to see how messed up a Magnemite Dugtrio fusion would end up being, and yep, I was right. That is scary. Just a blank, soulless stare from three little moles. A perfect fit for the team. With some fresh abominations at our disposal, it's time to take out the proficient poison leader, Koga. It's a 4 versus 4, and we have an array of freakish monsters ready to bring to the fight. Koga leads with Venomour, a sad-looking buggy pile of sludge, as we set it alight with flame bursts from our starter. However, Koga realizes that he violated the Geneva Convention by creating Magnafing, so he lets us take it out in one shot. We were cruising along until Chinook came out. Chansey and Muck have ridiculous special defense, and with acid armor, as well as double team, as well as black sludge, this Pokemon became our worst nightmare. This thing is probably the most toxic, evil thing ever created. Everything we tried against this thing failed miserably, and it swept our team one after another. That was so frustrating. Well, if Koga wants to go cheap and bulky, I have an equally devilish plan to counter with. First, we exercise our demons by splitting our Haunter duo back into one. Then, we go back to the drawing board with our starter by unfusing it from Muck. Because, as it turns out, combining a ghost with a pile of sludge creates one of the most hardcore, disgusting, and objectively cursed fusions out there. Look how metal it is. It's sick. And don't worry, Charizard, you get a cool fusion too. Yeah, that's really cool, isn't it, Charnat? In round 2 against Koga, we pull no punches. Our Flaming Gnat fires up once more, taking out Venomour and Magnafing no problem. Except, this time, when Chinook comes out, we do a Muck v Muck showdown with our Hornuk. And on top of that, we have the move Curse. This puts Koga's tanky monster on a time limit, and before long, it succumbs to the curse no problem. We can also inflict a curse on his final Pokemon, Beether, meaning, in short order, we just crushed the 5th gym leader on our second try, no problem. And all it cost us was to create the unsightly abomination that is Honok. You're welcome. And oh look, after the battle, Charnat gets to evolve. Wait, why did you become a seahorse? Now we were ready to go to Saffron City to take on the 6th gym leader, Sabrina. Except, the city has now been overrun by Team Rocket Grunts, which would usually be the scariest thing going on, but instead, that honor goes to the fighting dojo, where, in a double battle, we find Magnachoke. I don't know what I hate most about it. It's one eye, its bulging robot arms, or maybe its screw nipples. God is dead, and Magnachoke probably did it. I really don't want to be in Saffron anymore, but since we have to take on the Sylph Tower, I decided to mix up my team a little. As we'd now accrued a few unused Wonder Trade tickets, I wanted to use these to get a slew of new combinations, like the cute cub, Amphersa, the weirdly shaped elephant, Van Wudo, the mildly cursed monkey, Pikachu, and the sickly looking starter, Pippert. These guys, and our Quilava Prinplup Cross, will help us overthrow Silphco. But we can't forget a fusion for Charizard, and I decided to use our Snorlax that we caught earlier. As far as fusions go, I'm sure Charizard is just glad that it isn't set on fire or covered in sludge this time around. Anyway, now we have to try and save the people in Saffron Skyscraper, and while I'd usually report on any weird fusions, I still have Magnachoke haunting my mind. Nothing can surprise me anymore. We take out a bunch of Rocket Grunts, which in turn give us a slew of evolutions, ranging from cute to cool to downright disturbing. Soon enough, we were ready to take on the head of Team Rocket once more. A scientist does tell us that there are 11 more scientists in the building that need saving, but I'm not here to be a hero. Quite frankly, I don't think anyone with a Hornuck on their team could be. Before we can take on the top boss, Not Subbed challenges us to a quick battle. You'd think he would realize there's more pressing issues at hand, but I instead think he just wants to show off his Electrodos and Starbra to us. What a weirdo you are, Not Subbed, just like all the other weirdos who aren't subscribed to the channel. While some of his Pokemon are pretty weird, after the battle, our Prinva gets to evolve further into a complete gremlin. Why am I destined to be haunted by all the Pokemon we receive? Anyway, they too are destined to haunt Giovanni, as in a double battle with our rival, we're the tough matchup ahead of us. Fortunately, however, our rival doesn't pull any punches and is able to help us against some of our tougher matchups. While this Giovanni fight wasn't too difficult, don't worry, we'll have some big problems in the future. Saving the head of Silphco gives us access to one of the Johto starters, and I obviously picked the best one, Totodile. Sorry, Chikorita fans, you stay losing. After that fight, we were nearing the end of the gym challenge, so we were going to try and blitz through as much as we could, and that starts with a Psychic type gym, as well as our fusion. Sorry about that, Charizard. Our Paras had infected our starter into something unsettling, which only got worse when we evolved further into Parazard. This is the price you pay for being in every Pokemon game, Charizard, and it's this cursed Charizard that we needed to bring against Sabrina to get us the 6th gym badge. Her quartet of Psychic fusions start with Hipmime, as we lead with our Fungus Dragon. We get outsped and put to sleep with Hypnosis, as a Psychic hits us for big damage. However, we clutch up with an early wake-up call, letting us retaliate with a Spore and Shadow Claw for big damage. Sabrina then switches out into the cute EV Fusion Esrion, but we can put it to sleep too, as well as use our secret weapon, Fury Cutter. By using it again and again, this move doubles in power, which lets us build up some insane momentum. Before long, this takes out Esrion, and the Alakazam Slowbro fusion that follows also gets annihilated in one shot. Sabrina's ace, Genkazam, then comes out, and while it cuts our starter to size, we still have Mimiball. Our disguise ability protects us from any damage on the first turn, and a Shadow Claw then wipes out Sabrina's last 2 Pokemon no problem, giving us a clean 6th gym badge. Who knew that terrible infestations could help out our team so nicely? Now we have the ability to surf, so next on our radar is the small town of Cinnabar Island. Team Rocket might be doing something suspicious down at the dock with a stolen ship, but who cares about that? There's an Absol on the island. Gotta catch that. We'll catch up to Team Rocket's endeavors later on. Our target this time is the Pokemon Mansion, home to some of the strangest and saddest Pokemon fusions. We make sure to add whatever this is, as well as a Weezing to the team. Spoiler alert, we don't use this Weezing for anything, but look how cute this Eevee fusion is. Doesn't it look like it's loving life? Eventually in the mansion, we come to meet the 7th leader, Blaine, who'll meet us at the gym. But if we're going to take him out, we need to ascend as trainers to reach a new level. And how do we do that? By fusing our Charizard with God. By heading back to Pewter City and reviving our fossil from way back on Mount Moon, this lets us checkmate every atheist by showing them exactly what God looks like. This is what God looks like. I don't like how it stares at me. Oh, and I also don't feel great when it evolves, because this does look exactly like a monster from a H.P. Lovecraft story, and yet I'd still take it over the Magnemite with nipples. Despite looking like a deity, our Ormazard was struggling a lot with the trainers in Blaine's gym. I'm not sure how something that looks like that can be so troubling to us, but it had me a little bit worried. So we decided to go and see what's happening with Team Rocket. They stole a boat from Cinnabar Harbor, so we have to surf over to Mount Ember to investigate whatever they're doing. It doesn't take too long for us to reach where we need to, and while there are some crazy fusions scattered around the grunts, our god penetrates through their health bar like it penetrates through our mind with its eyes. Seriously, why is it looking back at us like that? Speaking of frightening, eventually we catch up to Giovanni and learn his plan. With 3 Master Balls, he's been able to capture the 3 legendary birds, and like at Mount Moon, he's attempting to fuse the bird trio into one unstoppable force. We can't let him do that, so we square up. Except this goes awfully. Zapmolcuno is a 3-headed Cerberus type, all of which are at level 50, and all of which get to attack on the same turn. It's a 3 versus 1 against the most powerful Pokemon in the region, and understandably, we got utterly annihilated, one after another. We clearly aren't ready to take on Giovanni yet, so we temper our goals and head back to Cinnabar after failing miserably. So our immediate goal is to take on Blaine, and we have quite a few contenders to work with, like our now fully evolved Flygon and Polion fusion, as well as our Swampert Raichu cross with no arms. And the other is a fusion of our Totodile with Anorith, which has basically become a tiny crustacean abomination. Neat. These 3 and Cthulhu here are who we're taking up against Blaine, so let's see if we can bring the heat. His lead Glue Dash takes neutral damage to our Surfs as we hit it for half HP. We're poisoned by Toxic, but after healing, we can take it out in 2 turns. Next is Magdon, who we would annihilate with a Surf, but a Pasho Berry means it can just hang on in the red and take us out with a Drill Run. Despite our starter falling, our Flyleon is about to run wild. A Dragon Dance on the first turn gives us an attack and speed boost before finishing Magdon with a Surf of our own. Following this is Blaine's Ace Charodactyl, who looks weirdly unsettling for a flaming pterodactyl. It just looks like a stumpy Charizard to me. It outspeeds us and does huge damage with a Fire Blast. It was looking grim, but RNGesus smiled down upon us as Charodactyl misses its next Fire Blast. With this opening, a second Surf can drown out the prehistoric fusion. Last is 9-9, a majestic looking fire type, but it can't survive even a single earthquake, meaning we just swept up the 7th gym. Now our attention turns back to Giovanni and his stupidly OP Hydra-esque legendary beast. This thing is a huge problem. What could we do to beat this triple legendary Pokemon? And that's when it hit me. We had to go to the casino. By playing a bunch of Voltorb Flip and using a bit of our money, we were able to invest 6,000 coins on a Dratini. This allows us to create the epic Pokemon. Oh, wait, I spoke a bit too soon. Now we get the epic Pokemon we're looking for, and, okay, still a bit early, but we're getting there. After mercilessly butchering a bunch of trainers, as well as witnessing the absolutely disgusting fusion that is Mr. Sir, we eventually level up, giving us the epic Fire Dragon typing that we always wanted. Why do you look like that? Dragazard may have a weird face and overall doesn't pass the vibe check, but it's this Pokemon that we needed to conquer Giovanni. In our rematch, we open with a big flamethrower on Articuno's head, doing massive damage. While the trio retaliate and bring our dragon into the orange, a Surf on the following turn can do chip damage over all 3, while also taking out Articuno. We get put into the red, but manage to land one more Surf before our goofy Dragazard finally falls. This is enough for Flyleon to come out, whip out its surfboard, and surf all over Moltres once more, leaving Zapdos all by itself. It only takes one more Radical Surf to flush out Zapdos, meaning we've conquered the almighty legendary boss. Giovanni is so shocked that he's hiding behind Articuno. What a coward. Now the legendary birds are free to roam once more, and we only have one more gym badge to go. Our team was looking cracked, but I wanted to mix it up with some even more cursed fusions. So, with our last few Wonder Trade tickets, I bought a bunch of newcomers to the show, like a happy Sludge Pile, Sloma, the kinda sick Pukawak, the weird chicken Totoduo, and the melon-headed hunter Ralcor. Oh, we have one more ticket to work with too. I wonder what we're gonna get. Good lord, that is absolutely nightmarish. Why are its eyes where its sac should be? In fact, why doesn't it have any eyes where it should have some? Giovanni is going to have no idea what hits him. Speaking of cursed disasters, I have just the idea for Charizard's final gym fusion. By combining it with the disaster Pokemon, we get an awesome Dark Fire Demon in Abazard, and it's this group of cursed creatures that are going to need to win us our final badge. First, we have to train our team, which gives us a few evolutions, like how our Ralcor eventually evolves into, oh god, it's waifu bait. Everyone in the comments, you better be on your best behavior. Our two-headed chicken then goes through the natural life cycle, first into a three-headed chicken, then a three-headed angrier chicken, and finally a three-headed angriest chicken. Such is the circle of life. Oh, and our happy pile of sludge? Forget that. It has a face of regret and beckoning now. You're welcome. While training up the rest of our team, it turns out that you can go to Saffron City and take the railway to Goldenrod City. Wow, I've never been to Johto before. I hope it has a bunch of cool Pokemon. Oh no. Oh dear. No, thank you. I'm good, actually. Turns out Johto is filled with even more disturbing Pokemon than Kanto. Fortunately, we have one good friend here in Johto, Usain, the Suicune fan who's willing to trade us a Mewtwo? Well, sign me up. Wow. This is clearly the most powerful Pokemon in existence. I almost don't think I can bring myself to use it because of its power. Sorry guys. Our excursion to Johto brought our team up to size, and with everyone above level 50, it was time to take on Giovanni one last time. And we got slaughtered over and over again. His team is packed with insanely strong and dangerous fusions that rip through our team again and again. But I believed in my cursed fusions, and after learning some new moves, I was eventually ready for a rematch. Let's do this. Giovanni leads with Rhyperior, as we lead with our Ferrodrio. As it just goes for Surf, we can set up a Swords Dance on the first turn, followed by an Aqua Tail for big damage. We then let Giovanni use all his healing items on his first Pokemon before we take it out no problem. Next is Electra Trio, who is just itching to zap us, so I swap into our Ground-type Waifu Bait. It's here that we can set up a Swords Dance and tank 2 Bulldozers before taking out the Electric Molds with 2 Sky Uppercuts. Next is Glystar, who is a big problem. I try to switch into our Slow Sludge, but Thrash just does way too much damage and we quickly fall. However, Thrash leaves Glystar confused, and all we need is one small window where it hits itself. This lets us set up another Swords Dance with our chicken, and an Aqua Tail does the job. But our chicken wasn't done yet, because Giovanni's Rylax is also crushed on the next turn, followed by Gochamp, who suffers the exact same fate. Our Bluebird had done it, giving us our final badge. And it just keeps on getting better, as our cursed Gold Crew can finally evolve into something far less cursed. What have I done? Now we've got 8 gym badges, so we can head for the Elite Four. We had some powerful fusions, but these fights with Giovanni were insanely tough. I was deeply afraid. What creepy, nightmarish, and powerful combinations were we going to have to conquer if we wanted to beat the game? On the way, our rival stops us one last time, but upon seeing what we just made, he desperately runs for his life. After pressing through Victory Road, we had finally made it to the Pokemon League. This was the big one, and for the grandest stage of them all, we needed a deadly selection of powerful, cursed fusions. And I had just the Pokemon in mind. Charizard, Pinsir, Snorlax, Magnezone, Dragonite, and Absol. Like a mad scientist, I'd be fusing these 6 with some crazy combinations to take on the final hurdle of this challenge. To start, Snorlax would be fused with Execute, which then creates this hilarious fusion that looks like Dr. Eggman. I told you that he looked like a villain. Magnezone would be fused with the parasitic Parasect, which then creates an unholy alien hybrid. It's a tiny parrot controlling a Magnezone UFO. That is awesome. For Absol's partner, we trekked all the way to Kindle Road near Mount Ember, where we can encounter the best dragon type there is, Flygon. This then creates an incredible Punk Dark Dragon. We've already seen a freakish tongue on Pinsir in the past, but with the reverse, you get a mischievous looking gremlin who is a perfect fit for the final team. Dragonite served us well against legendaries, so it's only fitting that it gets to be fused with God, becoming this Cthulhu looking monster. It's absolutely something that looks like it could wreak havoc, and I love it. And lastly, who's the best partner for our Charizard? Look, no one is truly worthy of being fused with Game Freak's favorite son, but then I had an idea. First, by breeding Charizard with the legendary Mewtwo, this gives us a baby Charmander. And what's better than one Charizard? 2 Charizards. And what happens when you combine this duo? You get this incredible Crimson Sprite. This looks like something that'll just devour you. Just what the world needed. Another Charizard form. We had our final 6 Pokemon, and now only one question remained. Could we become champions? Well, let's find out. First up is Lorelei, who certainly isn't a pushover. Her lead Margong can be bested by our Dark Dragon with an Earthquake, but then she brings out her ace, Gingrowth. A Night Slash does half, but a Draining Kiss smooches us into an early grave, while also healing all of its HP back. So we don't back down, incinerating her with our ace for the one-shot. And from here, we torch the rest of Lorelei's ice sculptures without much trouble. Even with Mambro being as cool as it is, it had to be done. That's one down. Next up is Bruno and his fighting types, who could be a real issue for our team. His lead Marvire definitely looks like it wants to cause some chaos as we lead with Cthulhu. A Cross Chop does big damage, and an Earthquake from us doesn't get the KO. So we switch into Charizard as Bruno heals, and then eat a Thunder Punch for big damage as we hit it with a Will-O-Wisp. Switching out into our Dark Dragon doesn't work as Bruno heals once again and a Cross Chop knocks us out. We eventually take out his first Pokemon with our Tongue Bug, but even after that, Pintung puts in work, as it also does big damage to Steel Champ as well as the Sea-Cross that Bruno switches into before falling. While it looks dicey, our Charizard isn't too worried, taking out Marachan and Steel Champ fairly easily. Bruno's last Pokemon, the one-eyed Steel Worm Magnanix, does take out our ace with a Zap Cannon, but a robot like this can be perfectly countered with our Dr. Eggman. 2 Earthquakes finish the fight, meaning we're halfway through. Third to face is Agatha, the ghostly ghoulish geriatric. She leads with a Mismagius Crobat Cross, as we lead with our alien Paris. Being hit by Confuse Ray does annoy us, but by putting the spooky bat to sleep with Spore, this gives us a window to take out the bat with only 4 HP remaining. Next up is Gendoom, and this Pokemon looks like it loves to mess things up. I try to bring in Cthulhu, as an Inferno hits us and inflicts the burn. I tried to stall with Roost, but sadly this doesn't work. Shadow Ball just does too much damage, putting us on the back foot. However, now it was time for our Dark Dragon to shine, as a Dragon Dance, followed by a Mist Inferno from Agatha, means we can take it out with an Earthquake. This then gives our Abgon the window it needs to sweep through the rest of Agatha's team no problem. That was dicey, but we got there in the end. Our cursed comrades had brought us all the way to the Dragon Tamer, Lance. Dragons are incredibly strong, and I can only imagine what demonic fusions awaited us. We'd need to be on top of our game to make it through this one. Lance leads with a Dragados as we unleash our villain on his team. A Hydro Pump doesn't do much to us, while a Body Slam from our Nefarious Bear paralyzes it. Sadly, Lance is able to heal and get his revenge with a few Outrages, giving him the early lead. Since I know Lance is going to heal, we can bring in Abgon and set up a Dragon Dance on the full restore. This big brain move lets us get the retaliation kill with Dragon Claw. Next in is Togenite, who is as threatening as it is adorable, but we're able to power on through with a few Earthquakes, leaving us on only the tiniest slither of health before taking it out. Tyrannodactyl is next, and this Pokemon is scary. It's fast and powerful, decimating our Abgon without breaking a sweat, as well as our Pintung. However, Cthulhu is able to just survive a head smash, and mercifully, Tyrannodactyl takes itself out due to the recoil. But we weren't out of the woods yet, as Porydra comes in next and quickly retaliates by taking out our monster. Fortunately, with Magnesect, we can counter this robot seahorse by using spores, as well as Giga Drains and Flash Cannons. We slowly but surely get the KO, leaving Lance with his final Pokemon, a Typhlosion crossed with Dragonair. But there's only room for one starter fusion in this battle, and we make sure to put Typhnair in its place with a few Air Slashes. With that, we defeated Lance and conquered the Elite Four. Now that meant there was only one trainer standing in the way between us and the crown of champion, not subbed. He now has a diverse team full of powerful fusions, but I believed in the power of our cursed Mons, so it was time to take on the final hurdle. He leads with a Nidoking Pidgeot as we lead with our Alien. Discharges do big damage to his poisonous bird, so much so that not subbed hard switches into this 3-headed Tauros. Don't you know how weird it is to have a Pokemon with more than one head not subbed? Fortunately, it can't really do much to us, so we keep hitting it with spores to put it to sleep before using Giga Drain to heal us back up. Once our rival has drained all of his healing items, his Tortor before finally succumbs to our Parasite. Next in is Ripe Mortar, so I switch into our Abominable Cthulhu as we luckily dodge a Fire Blast. This gives us the window to wipe it out with an Aqua Tail, putting us in a dominant spot. Our rival then brings out the big guns, his starter fusion, Blast Saw. Unfortunately, it knows Petal Blizzard, which does huge damage to our monster, causing us to lose our cursed Cthulhu. But this paves the way for Eggman to hit the field. He's perfect here since he resists both Hydro Pump and Petal Blizzard. This is exactly what we need, as 2 body slams can crush our rival's ace. The poisonous bird re-emerges, but we tactically let our Eggman fall after landing a yawn to put our rival's bird to sleep. This lets our alien re-emerge, invading the field, before quickly getting our revenge on our snoozing opponent. Fifth in is Electados, who would be a big threat if not for the fact that we have Giga Drain. Thunder Punch doesn't do anywhere near enough, as we sap away its health no problem, giving us some juicy recovery. This leaves only the astronomic nightmare, Starkazam, and while it tries to set up with cosmic power, our team is far too cursed and far too powerful. We can put Starkazam to sleep with Spore, followed by an onslaught of Giga Drains, draining away the final signs of life from our rival. With that, we're defeated Pokemon Fusion, becoming champions with some downright cursed Pokemon. Jump into this video next for more Pokemon content. Like the video or else you'll be cursed by the demonic Haunter, and comment below what your favorite fusion was. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.